Well, we got the job done. Wasn't pretty, but how do you feel after that?
I was bawled out my tits.
Oh,
I was bawled
I
out my
nearly
tits.
dozed off a couple of times.
It's annoying too because you've got your players come on and started to show flashes of excitement and stuff like that. Like Matondo, he's done it every single game this season. He's one player that you can actually look at alongside Cantwell, watch and say, right, well, we know we're going to get a bit of flair, a bit of confidence in the team, because to be honest, the performances so far it's been slow. And
Too laboured.
the thing is, like before the international break, all the talk was about a reaction. That was it. Like we just wanted to see a reaction. We wanted to see intensity. We wanted to see pace. We wanted to see some form of like identity in the way we want to play. But I just don't. Even though we got 3 points, like how much can you take for that? And
I'll tell you your identity. It's Butland gets the ball, plays it out really, really quick. It goes to one of the midfielders, and then it goes back to the centre back, to the right or left back, then back into centre back. Everything's slowed down.
Aye.
We're going to sound like we're playing for the fucking same instrument again this week. But we got the job done, but it needs to be much better because one, it's hard to watch.
Aye.
Two, you won't get away with these sort of performances against teams like Betis who are coming up. And we've also got many of the stronger teams in the league to play alright at Ibrox, but you know, see if we performed like the way we performed today at Ibrox, so the crowd would be getting on their back. At 1-0, Matondo comes on, scores. It's a great ball for Tom Lawrence, and he showed glimpses the day, but he's been out for a while. He doesn't look 100% fit. It took him a while to ease himself into the game today. But he does have that, like how he set up the Matondo goal, that wee pass, bit of brilliance. We need more of that. But what does that come for, right? He lets the ball run through him and he plays it on the turn first time. There's not enough of that. Everything's just a bit too slow, too laboured. It's as if we want to be, I don't know, if we don't play it out a certain way, we don't want to go forward.
And well, that's been a common theme in like even during the Gerrard era, like it was almost at times like we wanted to walk the ball into the net. It was almost if you needed a certain partner play to happen before a chance is created. As you said, certain pass needs to be made. You need to create a chance in a certain way for us to be able to, you know, capitalise on that chance. And it's annoying because it's one of the games in a few weeks where I've since Ross County, where I've been like, we're completely in control of this game. And when you're in control of a game like that, then it's the perfect opportunity to go, right, we're in control of the game, let's kind of push on in the game and show like, a wee bit of what we're about and play with a bit of confidence, forward thinking, take some more risks. But it was a safe performance.
So that's how I would describe
safe
it.
Performance.
But where's the excuse then for we got the job done, and obviously because we win 2-0 and get the 3 points, the catastrophe's kind of papered over for another until the next time where we can't get the job done. But where's the excuses for the level of performance now? Now that we've got the victory that we really, really needed, where's the excuse for the level of performance? Is that can't be doing to players still having gelled or this or that?
Even Beale said like the time for gelling's like finished. Like many more games do we need, but at the same time, like the performances in the past, like we'd like to put them down. The team needs to gel, and they did, but it's the exact same tactics we've used since the start of the season. And at the start of the season we papered over the flaws with right time to gel. Like the time to gel's over now, and I don't even know if there was a time to gel at the start, because it's hard to say because the tactics are absolutely no different. I mean, the players like Sima, I think Sima's slowly started to progress. Obviously we've discovered like Matondo, and obviously rediscovered Roof with his experience as well, but tactically it's been no different since that first.
So do you think that where the buck falls then, it falls with Michael Beale in the sense that he is requiring them to play a certain way, and I don't know, does he think it's going to come good and eventually be good to watch? Because from a Rangers fan's point of view, there was almost very little enjoyable in that game.
No.
From a neutral point of view, I can imagine they probably switched it back out of the Formula 1. But it's certainly no... We never won convincingly. Like you say, we dominated the game. So we can dominate a game for 90 minutes, but still not look like a real threat, to be honest, which is definitely worrying.
And it's a shame too, because like, it's your luck to start a podcast when we're going through a period like this, because I hate coming on to a podcast like week in, week out and having the same points made, but
when you get the same performances, it's easy to make the same points over and over again.
And as I say, as you go on Twitter, the new Rangers Twitter's like it's all the same points being made. But the most frustrating thing about it is every single time a performance like that's been put in, or over the course of pre-season, the start of the season, there's always been promises, and I think that's the most frustrating thing. There's always been promises for change, promises for intensity, promises for attack, all these promises, and then when it comes to the 90 minutes, we see a copy and paste performance. Like regardless of the result.
Personnel as well, regardless of the personnel, so clearly it is a strategical, a tactical flaw in the way we're playing, that's just it's not very appealing. It's not very threatening as well. Especially because I'm saying we've got this terrible habit of going like getting it like it's almost that we seem to be able to break away, get the ball into the midfield, but then ultimately it's almost as if the ball's getting drawn back to our two centre backs and like it's the out ball. But look, it doesn't take a Lionel Messi to pass a ball back to a centre back who's always got to be an acres of space. You know what I mean? We need a bit more, a bit like what Lawrence done for the Matondo pass. Like have a bit more confidence in your play, especially further up the park. Like don't be afraid to play the one-touch pass, but like you say, it's a copy and paste, and that's when you know like we've just got to be right with you.
Even with that pass, that assist in the pass that Dessers made to Matondo.
And the Servette. PSG Servette, I can't remember what it was. Even
they kind of passes, we cannot rely on players like an individual spark at any moment to just have one passage of play happen. We can't just rely on a player going, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to try and take the game, or in this moment I'm going to try and take a risk. We can't wait a bit for that, and the way it looks is, I think the coaching staff at Rangers like value possession for me like way too much. With the looks of the way they're playing, possession's valued probably as a top priority. Because it's always, where else would you see the likes of Yilmaz go to take a shy, right? And he does that thing where the shy is here and then he tries to take an extra 10 yards to get some space further up the park, you know what I mean? The referee stops him, says, don't go any further, and he ends up turning round and throwing the ball backwards.
He manages to successfully steal the yards going forward as well, just to pass it back.
It doesn't make sense. But
I think that's a mentality issue as well. For corners maybe not as much, but I think the mentality issue for Shies has been evident for the first game of the season actually. There's no a great intensity to get the ball back into play. It's like we're not really worried about doing things quick, but I'm thinking if you're away to St Johnstone, you're controlling, you're dominating the game, like I'd like to see just a bit more swagger. So maybe they don't have the ability, and
no,
that's the problem.
Even I would let like swagger drift away if it was replaced with like just straight ruthlessness. In terms of
one of the two at least.
You can have like goals that are maybe more happening by chance, or they're a bit scrappy, but you're constantly fucking ruthless. You want to be as direct as you possibly can. You want to put as many goals away as you possibly can. Like brilliant. That's the style of football. Like regardless, like, the ball's in the net. We don't care how we get it in the net, but the ball's in the net. But again, we're not clinical enough for that, and I don't think either we're confident enough to base. Well, the players now are confident enough to base their style of play on possession, and then wait, and then trigger that risk.
Because when you're playing let's take like a Man City or a prime Barcelona, right? I mean, they're possession based teams as well, right? But they're causing the opposition a lot more problems when they're in possession.
Aye.
They're not like, it's not just possession for possession's sake. For instance, passing for Tav to Davies to Yilmaz to Gold, like
Aye.
that's St Johnstone are no worried about that.
No.
Like a good quality possession based side gets the ball up the park, has their possession in their opponent's half,
Yep.
uses the defenders as an out ball if they need to recycle, but they're looking to recycle it. They're not looking to control the ball there, but I think Rangers are too happy to be like, just let our two centre backs on it.
Everybody else in the league apart from the old firm, maybe Hearts, Aberdeen, Hibs, they kind of big games, like that bottom half of the table is more than happy. They're probably good with the game plan. Just let Rangers have as much of the ball as possible. Let them run into ideas. Let's try and take the game to the 70th minute, and then we'll take it from there and see what we can do. Blow them up a wee bit, and I think that's happened most of the times because there's a good few games this season where we've been nutting each or like 1-0 up until the fucking 70th minute, and they subs have
Same
been
again
same again, and it's took like a Matondo to get subbed on for us to spark and change the game, because they teams are more than happy to let us run it. Just let them gas ourselves out mentally, let them run into ideas, let them play the risky balls, we'll sweep it up and we'll hit them in the counter. Like games against the teams that are going to sit back, you just need ruthlessness. You need to be constantly putting the ball into the box, working the defenders, and again we've seen a couple of times during that game where the ball's been put into that danger area. See that bit where you blast it low and hard and anything could happen. And I thought to myself, like that happened earlier in the game, I thought to myself, like brilliant. There's maybe
there's a way of getting goals, like, or potentially using that going forward.
Exactly, like but again, then we kind of reverted back to right, let's hold possession, let's find a safe way to score a goal. And a lot we don't need to make it as obvious that we want it, like, so two teammates, like, let's say one's got the ball at the edge of the box, the player's got the ball at the edge of the box, there's a player in the middle that's wanting the ball. It seems to me, rather than you just going bang and just getting it into that rough area and letting the striker do the work, we're trying too hard to make it far too obvious that we're going to try and create a chance. And it's so easy for the likes of St Johnstone's, your like any team, to be honest, because it then becomes predictable. And again, it becomes predictable in the press as well, because I think
that's a key word you've just used, predictable, by the way, because even for our first goal, right, that was like the 5th time in a short space of time that we had tried that exact passage of play. Tavernier gets the ball, plays it inside to Lammers, makes the, and it works out there. But I'm watching it as the game goes on, and I'm like, right, that's our identity there almost, but that's all we had. We never really had much else going forward other than that. We're going to try and get Tav on the ball, play it inside, let him go down the wing, cross it in. It works great, but it doesn't work all the time. Unfortunately, fucking that big boy comes right through Danilo, fractures his orbital, and it's a bit disappointing that he comes on, gets 15 minutes, and then he could be out for God knows how long.
With recruitment nowadays and how teams sign players, like I refuse to believe a team like Rangers, any team like with the finances that we've got, like the Scottish level of finances, I refuse to believe we go out and spend £6 million on somebody that's not, at the very least, got massive potential to grow. And I fully believe Danilo will come a massive player for us. It is a shame that that happened, but
it's just got to come back a bit further in his journey.
If he'd have got up after that goal, I'd have been thinking to myself, right, well, now let's see what fucking Danilo's about.
Exactly.
And again, but at the same time, we've said it before, the game's been played round about Danilo most of the time, because again, it's pointless possession based. Even we're just trying too hard to make it obvious. It's easy to defend, even though we've got shots away. The shot quality that we've had so far has just been terrible. It's been shocking.
Every time I see John Lundstrom winding that fucking leg he has
up
to take a shot,
you know it's going fucking anywhere.
Somebody's got to end up getting concussed when this goes out of the bar. Nearly happened to the big baldy boy I hint the goals today. But there's another common theme that I've been noticing as well is that even when we do, and I think this is why we always end up recycling the balls back to the centre backs as well, is because when we break up, get it to the midfield or the strikers, everybody seems to be isolated when they get on the ball. Like, people are saying we've not got enough width, which, alright, I get where you're coming from, but where the fuck is all the support around the player who's got the ball? Because I don't know, I find that you know, prime Barcelona where they're playing the tiki-taka and everybody's, I mean, they're moving the ball one-touch football, but that's the way I would much prefer we try to emulate that sort of style, rather than, maybe we're lacking width, but fuck me, the players are also spread out.
They're lacking options as well, but I get what you mean, because if he's wanting to play like a lot more narrow, see when the ball goes into a player in the middle of the park and he's got like three St Johnstone players round about him closing him down, I don't get, like, having the only out ball as a 1-2 with the centre back is just going to stir up a terrible viewing,
and we've seen that happen multiple times today. That was like the most common passage of play for us.
That's kind of where
it gets redundant and boring, to be quite honest.
That's where we kind of missed Cantwell, because with Cantwell, when he's on the park, he's willing to take that risk to try and do a player on a turn regardless of the space he's got. He's got that willingness, like, already kind of scans about and he knows.
A bit like Lawrence today. So Lawrence, before the ball comes to him, he almost really knew what he was going to do. He done it, so he didn't have to dilly-dally on the ball, didn't have to take a touch and then realise, it's no on anymore, go back to Goldson. It's like the ball's coming into him, and see, as a central midfielder, your head needs to be on a swivel, you need to be constantly looking over your shoulder, knowing how the game's going to play out if the ball does come through you. Lawrence does it brilliant, feeds in Matondo, it's a goal. So it's like, that was one of the best passages of play I've seen for Rangers in a while, in terms of Lawrence just no fucking taking the ball and being laboured on it and slowing everything down, a bit like Raskin's become. He's got into a bad habit of doing that as well. Lundstrom, and like I say, the fullbacks are always going to, the fullbacks or the centre backs are always going to be there for you to, but it's almost like it's too easy a decision for them. Like, fucking be confident and go forward and play forward. And honestly, I would rather lose the ball going forward than I would just knocking it in. Try something, you know what I mean? Have a bit of faith in your ability.
Even talking about the fullbacks, like, there was a lot of times during that game as well where, like, the width was always there. Many times did we see Yilmaz, like, literally stoning his cell out wide. There's a direct option right away, because, like, he could gain, like, an unbelievable amount of yards. You put that ball out to him, but there's a direct option. But instead,
why did we not use it enough though? Is it because we don't have that ability to go from back to front quickly or from side to side quick enough? We've seen Tavernier try to find him one time outside of the boot, makes an absolute cunt of it. But the reason I think he duffs it is because he hesitates to play the pass rather than just going, Yilmaz is there, I'm just going to play it. I think they're overthinking. Like you say, they're trying to score a goal in a particular way. Like, if we don't do this perfectly almost, then they seem to not want to just, you know, play with their intuition.
And that's it, saying overthinking always ends up with a boring brand of football. Like, it's any time that you see a team that's well organised with that kind of dull, like, take the sharpness out the game, like, 9 times out of 10 that's because they've been trained to overthink every situation, pick the safe pass. And if that's the style of play we're going for, like, regardless of how many times we win, I just cannot see the fans doing a U-turn in their opinions and going, you know what, we're getting wins. And, well, like, how many managers have you seen, you know, have a decent win rate, but their brand of football is absolute dog shit?
And that's, so far, that is what Beale's brand of football has been like
minus the wins, because
minus the and the thing is that's absolutely the case, and we've not put in one decent performance this year.
No.
So we accomplished what we needed to accomplish the day. We needed a win, and we were talking about in the last podcast and on Twitter and stuff like that we need to start prioritising performance, because we perform well, we will win.
Aye.
You know what I mean? You perform at the best of your capabilities, the victories will follow, but we've not had one decent showing.
No.
We've had barely even any good spells, to be honest with you.
And
you know what I mean? And we wonder why we sound so fucking negative on this podcast. It's fucking depresses the life out of you. You know what I mean? Come on to fuck. We're 6 games into the season and we're moaning like a couple of fucking...
I know.
Oh dear.
Even that, you seen at other clubs, like, even though they've won silverware, won trophies, winning plenty of games, but you always get fans saying, "Oh, I remember the ex-manager, like, how decent and successful, but fuck me, that football was terrible, man."
And the fans just won't put up with it, because the fans at Ibrox don't accept... You see the negative style of football, the going back to the centre-backs all the time. You can hear the atmosphere in Ibrox start to turn.
And it's going to make it worse for the players, because if you're at Ibrox, you're anywhere, because let's be honest, we've probably got more away supporters than home supporters in most games, like against the weird teams. Even at that, if you're playing that style of football, you're going to hear the players are going to hear the fans turn and think to themselves, like, this is the way we've been asked to play. And think of the dent in confidence that is when you think you're doing the right thing in terms of whatever system we're trying to play, but the fans are turning on you regardless. Like, it's no sustainable over the course of the season. No,
and I'm starting to think, man, are we... Like, I'm constantly trying to think, are we being overly critical? But I don't think we are, because we've heard the grumblings for the majority of the supporters, especially after that big week where we had PSG and Celtic back to back. But then we come out the day, I'm thinking St Johnstone, we need to win.
Aye.
We absolutely need to win, but we're still not happy. But I don't know, I don't feel like my team's performing to the level that they should be performing, whether they're winning, because there is no way...
You don't really feel excited to watch a game. No. Like, you know what I mean? This morning I got up and I'm like... Fuck, I'm more buzzing to make the podcast than I'm to watch this fucking game, because you know what kind of... It's almost like you can predict what kind of performance you're going to get. A lot of folk even on Twitter are saying, here's how the game will go, it'll be
and they've probably got to
narrow, it'll be...
narrow, boring, it'll take us fucking 45 seconds to take a throw in. Here's one as well, right? Raskin, the ball goes out, Raskin runs there, goes to take the throw in, want to do it quickly, ends up no doing it quickly at all. Pass it, gives the ball to Tav throws it in straight away, and you're like, fuck me gently, by the way. What is going on? Come on.
He slowed down his throw in to one player to pass it to Tav to throw it to the same fucking player quickly.
And then you're like, it's back at goals.
About 5 seconds. But I suppose on the bright side, like...
He's the bright side, mate. Good.
It was 2-0. It was 2-0.
On the bright side, Beale's got to make it through another week and take us on our European run. So, that's always good.
Well, whatever it is, like in Europe, or whatever the flaws are, that kind of, if we're going to play that kind of style of football, that level of performance, like Betis are going to just have any European performance.
It's the energy, mate. It's the energy and the intensity, man. It feels like watching Rangers is like taking a fucking Valium. You're like, this is boring as fuck, man. I want to put you to sleep. Genuinely. So, I mean, hopefully against Betis on Thursday, I was saying to you, half jokingly at the end, I'm like, it gets to 75 minutes in the Rangers game, we're up 1-0, and I'm like, I hope St Johnstone fucking score, man, so we need to get up the intensity. Like, that's how bad it's getting. I'm like, we need the opposition to score so that we can get a rocket up our arse. Fucking hell, that's bad news.
I know.
Bad news.
So if you've enjoyed today's podcast, let us know in the comments your opinion on the day's game. Remember to like and subscribe as well. Also, all our links to our socials are in the description below, so go over there, follow us, TikTok, Twitter, X, and we'll see you next time.